All right, so I'm sure if you clicked on this video, you're probably somewhat aware of the call her daddy situation. Um, Portnoy put out a video yesterday on their Instagram, which is diabolical. But I saw he had put something up, and I just wanted to do a little reaction video and then talk a little bit just in general about the call her daddy situation. So let's play the video, and I'm just going to chime in.
Okay, emergency press conference time. And I know I'm on the Call Her Daddy feed, so you're probably like, what the fuck's an emergency press conference? That's when I feel like I have something important to say or to respond to something. I break in and do it. So here we go. I'm sure most of you guys saw Sophia on her Snapchat story has finally responded to all this madness. And she said a whole lot of fucking nothing. Like literally nothing. Didn't even mention Soup Man. It felt like to me she was just getting ready for a lawsuit, gearing up for a lawsuit. And to be honest, that's the vibe.
I don't know if you guys watched that video, the Sophia's video, basically her side of the story explaining everything. It explained fucking nothing. I mean, I watched it. I was more confused afterwards than before I had even watched it. First of all, it was like you could tell it was wicked edited. She cut it up into. She probably filmed about 45 different versions of it and cut the whole thing up. But basically, she blamed Alex for the whole thing, and I don't watch. I didn't listen to Call Her Daddy religiously. I would I would catch an episode here or there, but it seemed like they were best friends. And she even said they were best friends yesterday. But she insinuated that Alex went behind her back, and it almost sounded like Alex was banging Soup Man, which we know wasn't happening, but that's what it sounded like. And what she really should have just come out and said it's basically, hey, Alex went behind my back and fucking cut a deal with Barstool and cut me out of the podcast because that's basically what happened. Negotiations got tough. Alex realized she could do this whole thing on her own and keep the IP, the intellectual property, and she did it. And she cut me out, and I overplayed my hand, and now I want to do the podcast again, and I'm willing to take less. But she didn't say that. She basically is still fighting for the 50-50 split with Alex, which now isn't going to happen because Dave already took her side. And she should have been more apologetic because she fucked this up, and she's going to get left in the dust. When this whole thing settles, it sounds like it's going to get really ugly. But at this point, Sophia's got no leverage, and Dave's going to explain that in this video. But yeah, she fucked this one up pretty bad. So I'm not surprised she's lawyering up.
I've had from her and her lawyers and William Morris and probably Suitman for the last 2 weeks. Like she fucking said she was going to sue us for the Call Her Daddy IP when her and Alex were still a team. It's like, what do you mean? Like, how's that fucking possible? So that's what it sounded like, trying to say she owns 50% of it, even though Barstool owns 100% of it. But whatever. She didn't really dispute anything that I've said, and how can you? It's easy to make good arguments when you have the truth on your side. That's why I always like to tell the truth, because I can be like, bing, 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 bing. I have all the fucking, as the girls, I've learned it. I have all the tea. I guess that's what you guys call it. I spill the tea. I fucking guzzle the tea, and I go and spit it all over the place.
He is dancing on their graves right now. This is getting ugly. He realizes he won this battle, and he doesn't even care about fucking losing them in a year. Now he's just going to get the revenue in, and he's going to dance on their grave because he knows in the court of public opinion he won, and in business he won too because now he's got someone he can deal with in Alex, and clearly Sophia and Superman were the ones who were derailing this whole thing. So
Because I'm telling the truth. I get it. I'd probably be mad too a little bit if I was Sophia and Alex. I mean, they were a team. They were both getting ready to stab me right in the fucking face. And then I do that awesome deal on my roof deck. And then Alex comes to her senses like, wait a minute, we can't bail on this. It's such a fucking good deal. They're giving us more than what we want. They're giving us everything we could dream of. Sophia won't do it because Superman was definitely involved in my mind. I don't have the fucking proof, but you know it. And getting that Wondery deal that we know was there to call the show The Fathers and fucking leave Barstool. So Alex is like,
that Superman guy, by the way, if you haven't seen him, look him up. His name's Nelson, something Nelson from HBO Sports. What a loser that guy is. Holy shit. The nastiest looking mug you've ever seen. Biggest head. He's probably like, he looks like Barry Bonds after doing 10 rounds of horse steroids in 1999. Guy's got the biggest dome you've ever seen in your life. But he's like a real nerdy looking guy, like a Harvard looking, Ivy League elitist type guy, just like the opposite of Portnoy, the opposite of Salt of the Earth. And yeah, just a horrible looking guy. He had no idea who he was dealing with Prez, by the way. Zero idea. Because or maybe he did have an idea and he wanted to screw him, but he overplayed his hand, like I said. And Portnoy's he's gonna be toasting a bottle of champagne when that guy gets fired from HBO, because I don't know how the hell HBO is gonna keep that guy after all this mess. I mean, what's he doing? They're in the middle of a pandemic. I'm sure they're bleeding money, and this guy's shopping some podcast that HBO doesn't even own, and he's an executive at HBO. And by the way, the podcast is with his girlfriend, who's currently under contract with Barstool. So he's doing something he shouldn't be doing for his girlfriend, who's not an employee at the company where he's supposed to be managing and trying to get them through this, obviously tough time. So
can't do it. She can't convince
everything
Sophia to
coming up page
leave
views.
because Sophia is with Superman and they're just walking down the street with fucking that big old head on fucking Superman, and Superman's like, how'd I get a girl like this? Yeah, exactly, Superman. Fucking go quote Walt Whitman. So yeah, Sophia's mad because she's like, wait a minute, how can you pull out at this point? Well, Alex has to look out for number.
Hey, look that guy up if you haven't and you're watching this video. He looks like the type of guy who would quote Walt Whitman. That's exactly how to describe him.
One at some point. It would have been a fucking disaster if you guys just bounced and went to Woundry. You think I was just going to fucking take that? It would have been World War III. Instead, you got everything you wanted, could leave in a year. That's where Alex was smart. And let me say this. If the deal is going to get done, as Sophia's like, I want to be at Barstool, I want 50% of it, then
I'm going to pause this again because that's a good point. First of all, I didn't listen to this podcast much, but Alex did seem like the smarter one. It seemed like she steered the show a lot more. You could tell she was generating a lot of the conversation, and then Sophia would kind of play off Alex, and she had her own stories, and they were good stories. Obviously they were very successful and everything, but how these girls were just dumb because, and specifically Sophia was really dumb because when they offer you 100% of the intellectual property, that means, and he cut off, their contract was going to end 6 months earlier, I think he said. She is missing out. You just saw it. Rogan sold for $100 million, his podcast. And Spotify's basically, I believe they're essentially leasing it. He still owns the podcast. So they missed out on, conservatively $5 to $10 million a piece, I would say, over the next couple of years. Because if this kept going the way it was going, and they were the number one female podcast in the world, and they would have owned 100% of the IP, split 50-50 down the middle between the two of them. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars once they can break free from Barstool in a year. We're talking millions and millions of dollars. So, for them to break up over some petty shit with an HBO exec, churning his wheels behind the scenes. I mean, Portnoy gave them what they needed and what they wanted. And then she still wouldn't take it. So I don't blame her. Alex was smart to take it because now she's got 75% of this massive podcast. And quite frankly, from the little bit I listened, I guarantee she could get someone else to be her co-host. And it wouldn't, maybe the dynamic would change a little bit, but my guess is it's still going to be really fucking successful. So, Sophia fucked this up bad.
Deal would have gotten done. Would have gotten done on the roof deck. It would have gone that night. What happened? Why was no one talking to us for 3 days? Because they were moving the goalpost. Team Superman was. At least that's what I believe to be the case. And you can't really be like, oh, I want 50%. I'd love to be at Barstool. That only started happening when the other thing fell through because Alex left. I feel bad for Sophia in a way because I guess I got such a big fucking heart. But, you did this all yourself. You can't cry about getting stabbed in the back when you were stabbing us in the back. And I have all the text telling her that. It's like, what do you want me to do? It's like you were getting ready to fuck me over. Now you want me to be like To Alex, like, no, she can't come back without you. It's like, well, you should have thought about that before you're trying to fucking stomp on my face. So again, I think everything I said is the truth. I bet we're going to get a lawsuit. And we're still working out. Who knows what happens with Alex? And I've said this, by the way, a gazillion times. And I don't know if I just said a minute ago. My brain's falling apart. If Sophia
should just, at this point, she should grovel at the feet of both Alex and Portnoy at this point. I don't care if she's getting 5%, 10%. Whatever she's getting is better than nothing, and that's where she's headed. So, she's got to get herself back into the good graces with, it sounds like Alex, and cut a deal where she can get 25, 30% and move on, because I mean, she's got no leverage at this point. Now that Portnoy's totally fine doing a deal only with Alex, and Alex seems like she's cool to move on too. Sophia's gonna get left in the dust, here. And my guess is her solo podcast would not be nearly the success that she's had, under the Call Her Daddy umbrella.
came to us first
We'll see, I guess.
and was like, hey, Alex won't sign this. She has some boyfriend she's in cahoots with and they just won't see the light. We would have done the deal with Sophia. We didn't have preferential treatment. We just played the cards we were dealt. But like I said, this whole thing's so fucking crazy. Honestly, if I had advice for somebody who's been doing this for 17 years and not some fucking suit who, like, quotes Walt Whitman and says he's not on social media, just let it go. Like, you lost. You fucked yourself. And if she still wants her own podcast with Barstool, I'll give it to her. I'm a friendly guy. We'll give it to her. We'll support it. But, like, you lost the Call Her Daddy battle by being an idiot and listening to bad fucking advice from bad fucking people.
He's not lying. He's not lying. So that's it. Everything coming up, page views once again. I'm sure he will be popping champagne, like I said, when that dude gets fired from HBO. Sophia fucked herself really, really bad. She's probably going to lose out on millions, and Alex is going to be rich when this thing gets going again. So that's about it. We'll see what happens over the next couple days, weeks, and thanks for checking this video out. Peace.